Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. Thank you so much for joining me. Lots of my recipes, because they're based on traditional things from Mexico, call for Mexican crema. But I never really delved deeply into what Mexican crema is, so that's the topic for today and how you can make a really authentic one. Now, you could go to your Mexican grocery store and buy a jar of Mexican crema. It'll say on there crema. But it's not necessarily the best crema that I have had in Mexico. No, if I were taking you to, say, Mexico City, and I took you to the San Juan market in downtown Mexico City, to my favorite cremeria that's there, I would go and order crema de rancho, the ranch style cream. And what they give you, it tastes for all the world like French creme fraiche. That is the authentic, to me, the absolute best Mexican crema. What you could get in your Mexican grocery store would probably be much lighter than that. And if you look on the label, it's pretty much just heavy cream that has thickeners added to it. Maybe a little bit of culture will go in there, but oftentimes not. So when you taste this rancho, the crema de rancho, it has so much complexity as well as beautiful thickness. So it's easy to achieve that in your own home. Of course, you have to find your right starter, and I'm going to show you two different things to use as starters here. One is going to be commercial sour cream. The other is going to be buttermilk, and they produce two slightly different cremas, but both of them are nutty and delicious and rich, and they will make your food taste so good. So I encourage that you try it once or twice, and then I think you'll be hooked with it. Now, number one, the crema will only be as good as the cream that you start culturing with. So you've got to find something that tastes really good. Ultra pasteurized cream usually has most of its flavor stripped out of it, so I don't recommend. In fact, it doesn't culture well at all. So pasteurized cream, hopefully from a local dairy. I've used a lot of different kinds of organic creams, and they tend to be, because they a lot of times come from herds that are grass-fed, tend to be really delicious. So that's what I use. That's what we use in our restaurants. So I've got some cream here, 2 cups of cream, because I'm doing 2 different batches. I've got it twice, and I'm going to pour it in here. You can see the gorgeous color of this cream. It has that rich light yellow color because both of these are organic creams, and they are really flavorful, both from local dairies. Okay, I've heated those, I do this in the microwave, to 80 degrees. You don't really need a thermometer for this, but you just don't want it to go over your body temperature. So if, just like testing a baby's bottle, if you want to put some on your wrist there and feel that it's no hotter than your body temperature, it's going to be perfect. Now, for the one that is cultured with straight sour cream, again, not all sour creams are created equal. You want to get one that you think is going to be really high quality, that will have very active cultures in it, because it's the active cultures, just like when you read on a yogurt container that it contains active cultures. You want active cultures in here because they're going to multiply and they're going to thicken your cream. So I've got my sour cream here, and I'm going to put that into the warmed cream and just sort of spread it around in here gently to break it up, and then whip it even harder. Now, this is also an organic sour cream that I like a lot, and I know it has very active cultures in it, so we could just let that sit at a warm room temperature for 6 to 12 hours until it's noticeably thicker, and it would be just fine. We'll talk about that culturing period in just a second. I'm going to put the top onto this one, but when we talk about the one that is cultured with buttermilk, and my guess is a lot of you have heard this recipe before, I use a little bit more buttermilk than most people call for because I think it's more sure. You're not going to end up with just cream here. So I'm using a ½ cup in both cases to 2 cups of cream. I rarely do less than 2 cups, but if you just want to do 1 cup, you can just have the recipe straight through. But this buttermilk, I like to, because it creates a less thick end product. I like to add a little bit of milk powder to it. So this is the one that I use here. And adding a little bit, in fact, you'll notice a lot of times on the labels for sour cream that they will list the milk powder on there. So I'm going to put the buttermilk into the blender jar along with a couple of tablespoons of the powdered milk. Now, you could just whisk this, I guess, but man, I find that powdered milk is really hard to incorporate. So I just take the extra time to blend it in so that I can make sure that I'll never have little clumps of that buttermilk, of the milk powder in the buttermilk there. And then we will mix that into our warmed cream. And that's really basically it. Okay, so now let's talk about, that mixes in really easily. So now let's talk about the culturing process here. For it to work really well, you want to put it in a warm place. So like in my house, I could choose a place next to a radiator, and then I could wrap it in a towel, and that would protect it. Sometimes I'll warm an oven up a little bit, just to about 100 degrees, and then I'll put it in there, but that cools down very quickly, so it's going to go to whatever your room temperature is. And in Chicago, in the middle of the winter, it can be cool in our house. So if I really want to be sure about this thing, then I will put it in a place that has a controlled temperature. And if you're a fan of an Instant Pot and you've been playing around with it, that's what I've been doing now, and it works really well because most brands have a yogurt setting. And that's exactly what you want, is to have it hover around 90 degrees, something like that. I put a towel into the Instant Pot liner, and then I just put it in, drop it in here. I set the top on it like this. I don't seal it or anything. You don't need to do that. This is a very insulated thing. And then you just put your yogurt setting on there. This one goes automatically for 8 hours, which is going to be plenty for setting these. If it goes off and you're still away from the house, all of that is good. It'll just sit there until you come back. But you do need to refrigerate it for a number of hours until it's very cold. And that finishes the thickening process of all of this. So I've got two that I did a couple days ago here, one with buttermilk and one with the sour cream. So we'll take a look at these and I'll show you the difference in texture. And then I'll try to describe for you the difference in flavor. Okay, so this is our buttermilk one. I mean, who doesn't just like melt when you see something like that? It is so, so beautiful. If there is a little separation at the bottom of basically what it would be whey, you can spoon the cream off the top or mix it in, whichever you want. It'll soften it a little bit, but man, that stuff is just gorgeous. Okay, now let's look at the other one over here. You'll notice that the sour cream one here is a little bit thicker. And you'll have to stir it more. So you can see why people have for a long time encouraged you to make the buttermilk version. It's a little more luscious in texture, though this one is coming out pretty good. I will tell you that they act differently in the kitchen too. Buttermilk version of it will separate and run on anything hot. So in the Mexican kitchen, lots of times we're making the little masa snacks and we want to put crema on the top of it. This one will almost immediately start to just flatten out, to melt. So you don't like that very much if you wanted to have the lusciousness of the crema on the hot thing. That's when the sour cream one comes in because it's much more stable. And you spoon a little bit of that on something hot and it will stay there and you will appreciate it in a different way. For desserts and such, The buttermilk one usually has a more luscious texture. And typically I say it's got a more rich and complex flavor. It's not as sour as the one from the sour cream, and it's more tangy and less nutty. Both of them are good. Nobody's going to complain about either one of these things. They're both lovely. They'll make your food taste so good. And when you compare the flavor of these to most of the commercial Mexican cremas, it's like they're worlds apart. And it's worth investing a little time, it doesn't take very much at all, in creating your own crema when you're going to make really delicious Mexican food. Have fun with crema.